We are pitting the best short course athletes against the best long course athletes over a distance that neither are accustomed to. It's going to be simply incredible.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Challenge Miami 2021. Here with us, we have Bill Christie, CEO of Challenge North America. So thank you for being here, Bill. We are doing our second race here in North America on a speedway. First, we had Daytona. This second venue, Miami. I want to ask you, why Miami?
Good question on Miami. Miami, first and foremost, was a beginning race season. Daytona's the end of the season. We wanted a beginning of the season. The Latin American market, all the way through Brazil, trains through, as you know, our winter is their summer. So we believed with 11 million people in the Dayton-Broward County area, plus all those people who really want to race out of Latin America and Brazil, we thought this was a great place to have our second venue in the United States. So we're happy to be here in Miami. This is one of my favorite tracks, and we're really looking forward to racing here.
It's easy to get to. Miami has an international airport. It's easy to get to from Latin America, from all over the nation. Being the second event, what did you learn from Daytona? That Daytona was your first event. This is your second event. What did you learn that you will apply here in Miami for this weekend?
My favorite part of that is 972,000 people between two countries tuned in on TV through NBC, NBCSN, Peacock, which tells me with 400,000 triathletes registered in the United States, people found it entertaining. People who wouldn't have watched triathlon in the past watched this race. So I know people who would have probably not seen the race as it used to be formatted, but didn't get off the couch. So what we learned was we made it entertaining. We proved the concept. Probably being as critical as we are, and we rip apart our races, and we are tough on each other. We learned that there were some TV angles we wished we had. Annie's probably my favorite example. She went 3 wide, and in a NASCAR world, 3 wide's a pretty big deal. She went 3 wide, was called for drafting, and we missed that shot because of the timing between USAT and getting us the message. So we've made changes to keep that from happening. We've also decided that it might be kind of fun to hang a microphone in the penalty tent. There's some heated debates going on, and we don't want to miss that. So that's fun TV. So those are a couple of the examples of things that we learned.
There's going to be a lot of bleeping on that one. We have NBC Sports is going to show this event on March 18th, I believe it is, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
2021.
So, I mean, what's the range of viewers that we're going to have on that one?
We know domestically we had 690,000 sustained viewers, which meant they sat down, they didn't get up from the TV. We know that we had 1.4 million people in and out of the show in the United States. We were shown in over 120 countries around the world, both live stream and on TV network. Over 500 million homes around the world. We don't have the worldwide data, although we're working on getting it. NBC clearly was impressed with those numbers. The NASCAR media team called me and said, hey, we wanted to give you the data. And I said, great. And they read me the data, and I said, wow, that's fantastic. And then I said, is that good? And they said, well, you beat IndyCar, you beat Rolex 24, you took out CBS that day, you took out ESPN that day. So we worked hard at it, but yeah, triathlon's entertaining for the first time ever, so we're pretty excited about that.
So we got good ratings, and that's the important thing. So let's ask you this. Miami versus Daytona, what would you say?
I knew you were going to ask that question. The course in Daytona was designed to try and level the playing field between the ITU athletes, the mid-course athletes, and long course athletes. We knew the ITU folks were going to be fast out of the water. We knew transition was going to be a question mark. But we also knew that being down on narrow bars for 80K was going to be a real question mark. And we knew that would probably come out on the run, and it did. We had a lot of folks drop out due to cramping. So with Miami's got such a phenomenal road course that creates a technical environment to give the best of both worlds. About half the course is technical through the sports car road course with a lot of chicanes and turns. The other part of it is half of the oval. So you get both combinations. So it's going to be a fist fight. It will be a slugfest, which is my favorite term for people going at it. We will see a slugfest through the chicane. So we're excited about being different than Daytona. And all of our races will be different depending on the venue.
And we learn something every day, that's for sure. Let me ask you this, Bill. What the future looks like for the Challenge North America family?
Everybody's trying to get out of me what tracks are next, right? That's like the favorite question. Where are we going next? 2022, we've already got Watkins Glen on the books. Watkins Glen's in the Finger Lakes of New York. It's in wine country, so it's rolling hills. On the middle distance, the folks will be riding their 56 miles through vineyards. It is a sports car course by nature. A lot of escalation, elevation changes, winding turns. So from a pro course standpoint, we're really excited about that venue and what it's going to look like on TV. We think that it's going to be a great travel experience too. And everybody's going to have something to do. As you know, it's a family event, so we're going to have something for everybody. There is talk of a wine walk, 5K, that I know I've got family members who are going to participate in, right? There's hands. So we're excited about that. Road America is in Wisconsin, just north of Chicago, another phenomenal road course. Beautiful swim. From there, Sonoma, everybody's heard me say Sonoma before. We'll be there, given that we can work out what's going on in California right now, and it opens up a little bit. So next year is going to be a busy year for us.
And how about this? How about looking further out? How about Latin America?
Yeah.
How does that sound for you?
So I just got the okay to say this from the CEO of Challenge Family. As long as they've got a sports car course, I'm allowed to put on a race in Latin America. So I got that about 3 seconds ago. But yeah, so if there's a race car, right, and we've got a bunch of them down there. So we're excited about Latin America and what it can bring.
Well, it's a good thing we got a Spanish announcer here, huh? There you go. All right, Bill. Well, I think if anybody has a question for Bill, I think we're pretty much done with this. Bill, any last thought?
None. Thank you guys for being here. Look forward to everybody racing. Have a great race. And most importantly, have some fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So we're just going to have a nice conversation, nothing technical, no big numbers, no FTP. Of course, I want to know the FTP. Of course I do. And I want to know how fast you're doing per K. But first off, have you practiced, and I'm going to go to you, Lucy, have you practiced the course yet? Have you been on the course? Talk to me about it.
Yes, I've been on the course twice. I went at a similar time to the race is going to be, so similar conditions, and I did an early ride where there was no wind, so it's very different when there's wind. I did race Daytona in 2019, it's very different to that, so yeah, it's going to bring in completely different factors to that race. The corners can be quite technical, so it's going to be about taking the right line, and just getting comfortable going around those as quickly as you can with other races on the track.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you're one of the best, if not the best swimmer out there. I usually ask the pros, I mean, whether you like to hunt or to be hunted, you're always being hunted. That's the nature of your ability on the swim. How do you handle that mentally? I mean, somebody's charging for you all the time, because you come out of this swim so far ahead. How do you work with that mentally?
Well, I don't have much choice. Luckily, I do
Right.
enjoy it. I do. I love being chased. In my training, I spent all day chasing my husband, so it's nice to be the other way around and being chased. I guess it allows me to apply down the pressure. I know the other girls are chasing from the gun, so I've raced as a swimmer like that. I used to go out super hard in the swim races and try and not get caught. It's the same in triathlon.
Okay. You're riding a new bike, right? How do you feel on it? You feel comfortable? You feel fast?
Yeah, I love the new bike. We've done some testing with it. It's tested super fast. It feels quick on the track as well. I think the main thing is I just feel comfortable on it, so I'm able to lay down the power but feel comfortable at the same time, which is always handy. So yeah, I'm excited to do my first race on the new bike.
On this course, and I'm going to ask you that also, Paul, but I mean, you won Daytona, right? Did you win Daytona? Yes? So you know how to race the racetracks, right? But on this course, this is not an Olympic, it's not a half distance, it's a middle distance. How do you guys, and I want you to answer me, how do you guys do the nutrition? Because I mean, Olympic distance, you hardly eat. Half distance, you have to eat. Middle distance, what do you do?
That's sort of something I am still learning to perfect with the half distance. I think it takes a little bit of the pressure off because this race is shorter, but it's not that much shorter. The run is still 16K. That's a lot of running to do after a fairly long ride. So I think it's still really important to be diligent about it and maybe not eat quite as much as I would in a half, but still it's really humid here. We're racing in the middle of the day. Those are also factors to consider. Daytona was quite a lot cooler and less windy, less humid, racing in December. So I still need to pay a lot of attention to it and make sure I'm taking fluid in, especially all day.
It should be a warm swim too. I mean, it's 78, I think. The water was close to 78, so that is kind of warm for you guys. So how do you adjust for that warm swim and then have to go on a warm day like here in Miami?
Yeah, ideally I would have been training somewhere warm, but I've been training in Oregon, which is pretty chilly. So I don't know, I don't feel fully prepared for the heat, but the wind does have a cooling effect, I think, a little bit. So that helps. And swimming today, it didn't feel hot. It felt almost chilly getting in the water. So I'm not too worried about overheating in the swim or anything. It's not like in Maui or something we were swimming in.
And what is going to be your strategy? I mean, you got to go this girl off to the water, and then, I mean...
Yeah. I think the race will be quite different than Daytona because of the technical nature of the track, and Lucy will be definitely way up the road, so it'll be a bit of a chasing game and seeing if I can get anywhere near her on the bike and the run.
And that's what you like. You like to hunt, right?
I prefer racing at the front and having people chase me, but that's not an option tomorrow.
That's the nature of this one.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this. Lucy, what was your happiest try moment?
My happiest try moment.
Yeah.
God, there's been a few. I think my favourite race that I've done is Challenge Roth. So I came second in that race by 9 seconds in 2018. So I went back to the race wanting to win, and I managed to win in 2019. So that was definitely one of my happiest moments, getting that win.
The back-to-back. How about you, Paul?
I definitely have to say Daytona in December. That was, at least in my recent history, back in the day, in ITU days, I had some really good results that I was proud of, but most recently, Daytona was quite a happy day.
From here, what's next for you? I mean, everybody's starting the season, there's no races, right? I mean, we are racing.
Yeah.
Friday, tomorrow, we are racing, so what's next? What's the year gonna look like for you guys?
It's hard to plan concretely what it'll look like. I think I'm pretty optimistic that races will continue to happen, and it's amazing that we have the opportunity tomorrow to race. Something we didn't last year in March. We were all kind of stuck at home suddenly and couldn't swim, couldn't travel or race at all. So for that, I'm pretty grateful for the opportunity tomorrow to be able to be here and get a race in March.
How did you handle the enclosure for the whole thing? I mean, everybody were doing trainers. I mean, there was no option. So what was your longest training on a trainer, on a turbo?
Well, my longest ever is 6 hours, but in lockdown I didn't do anything like that. It was pretty tough in the UK, like everything was shut down, so I didn't have access to a real pool for the whole of last year. Some athletes did in the UK, which made it really difficult, which is why I decided just to not race at all, because the swim is my best bit. If I can't swim, then I really didn't want to be on a start line. So And now super fortunate to have got access to a pool, so I'm really grateful, like Paula is, to be racing. I think anyone who can get to a race right now is really grateful for that. So yeah, I kind of just mixed up my training last year. I did a lot of adventure training, which I loved, and kind of just stripped it back to that raw love of doing swim, bike, run, which I think maybe I'd missed over the last couple of years, where it had been super high pressure, needing to perform at the top level. So yeah, I just had a lot of fun last year. I feel kind of refreshed and ready to go this year, and just hoping we get back to normal pretty soon.
Yeah, I think for all the pros, I think it's been like that. I mean, it's been a tough year, but it's been a good year of learning, of new training, new things coming up, and I guess, I mean, for better or for worse, we're going to come out better, right? So I guess that's pretty good for now. If you guys have anything else, you want to say anything else? Predictions? Anything on the guy's side? Predictions on the men's side? That's a good one.
Well, I'm a little biased, but I think Eric
I know you
has
are.
a good. He's in good shape right now, and he was not very excited or about Daytona, so he didn't do well there. But I think tomorrow he has a good
How
shot.
about you, Lucy? Who's your pick?
I think I better back my other half as well. They're watching us, so.
I know, these ladies are smart, that's for sure.
I still
Thank
think
you.
John will win.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. All right. All right, Mr. Ben Hoffman. Ben, I think, last time I saw you was over at Maryland. And you had, I think, did you have a kid yet? No, you weren't a father yet in Maryland, I think.
It was early days.
And now you got two.
That's right.
Yeah, you cook them in the
things happen
microwave.
quickly.
Huh?
Things have happened quickly.
Oh my God. All right, Ben. So, you did Daytona. You like the race in Daytona. What is your strategy to come to Miami again, race on a racetrack? And this is a whole different animal here, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, people have been talking about it, but for sure the chicanes that we have in there, the turns add a new dynamic, and I think an exciting one. I mean, I think it's going to be just a different effort overall on the bike, and then if we have the kind of wins that we've been seeing, that'll be a whole other factor as well. So I think overall, just definitely kind of another tough man's race. I was surprised actually with Daytona. I thought on paper from a distance that maybe it would be an easier race, or maybe kind of a race where there was drafting even going on or something like that. But it turned out to be the strongest athletes really rose to the top, and I definitely learned that lesson from that race. And so I think I'm more prepared this time around, and definitely excited to race tomorrow.
So Bill mentioned something about Daytona, that it was tough on you guys because you guys were on the aero position so long. Was it going to be different here?
Well, I mean, for sure, having the turns in there is going to mean that at least a few times, probably each lap we're going to be out of the bars momentarily at least. And breaking that aero position, which I think will be beneficial for most people, especially if you've trained for it. I do a lot of group riding, back in Tucson, Arizona, and it's definitely something I think that will, play to my advantage here. Having that ability to kind of surge and then recover, and then also just lock into the aero position on the straightaways.
What's your thought about the swim course?
Well, I swam in it this afternoon, and if it's like that tomorrow, I think it's going to be pretty choppy and challenging. Which again, I'm excited about. It's warmer water, the non-wetsuit swim. Even though I don't come from a swim background, is actually what I prefer. I like having that freedom in the shoulders. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the whole course is really exciting. I like the distances. It's definitely not something that we're used to doing. It's not a traditional format that way, but I think that it's a good distance, and I think it'll, again, the strongest athletes will rise to the top.
So would you consider this type of racing in this venue a game changer for the sport of triathlon?
Yeah, I think it's exciting racing, and you see people coming from all different backgrounds and disciplines, different distances, and the interesting part is it's creating a scenario where you end up having quite a mix actually, of different athletes finishing near the top, and especially at a race like Daytona, you look at the finishing times and how tight they were, and just the variety of athletes that were finishing in those positions. So it's cool. It's kind of cool to see everybody coming together under one sort of race format, and just hearing Bill talking about these new races that are planned. definitely gets me excited, and I'm thinking about putting him on my schedule already.
Yeah, you should. Let me ask you this, and this is kind of like fun facts kind of questions. What would you say is that thing that your coach keeps telling you not to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a tendency with all of us to maybe, push the pace a little bit too much sometimes on run workouts. And I think back to the end of 2019 when I was getting ready for, Kona in the fall, and I had a run workout that was a longer run with quite a bit of pace work in it. And, it was getting to that point where I was 2 or 3 weeks out from the race, quite fit. And, he was there with me, fortunately, for that run. It took everything I had to hold back and not, blow my race in that workout. So yeah, for that, I would say probably just kind of keeping, myself in check on the harder runs and not pushing the pace past what's prescribed.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're starting the season. Again, we're all in the same boat here. Looking forward to a great season, especially now with what we have Road America and Sonoma. So, I mean, that will fall into your schedule, I'm sure, whenever the dates come out. If you, like Bill mentioned, that the race in Watkins Glen, I think it was, is kind of hilly. Would you rather have a hilly kind of race on the bike, or you rather have a flat kind of race on the bike? What's your preference?
I mean, my tendency is to have like a more challenging hilly course, I think, something a little bit more dynamic. Yeah, but honestly, as I was saying, a race like Daytona, where on paper you would think, it might be a little bit boring or something, turned out to be really exciting and actually really challenging in its own way. So, yeah, I just think it's kind of cool to have a variety of different races, and it really challenges the athletes. It forces you to push your boundaries and, yeah, get out of your comfort zone so you can actually adapt and be ready for these different courses. But overall, my history, I've raced a lot of different Ironmans. The ones that I've won typically are sort of the harder courses, a little bit more climbing in them. So yeah, that would be my sort of default answer, I guess, is something a little more hilly.
I guess this is flat, huh? This one is flat. All right. I don't want to take too much of your time, but let me see. What else do I want to know from Ben? How's your kids, man? You got the 2 kids, they're doing great, right?
Yeah, it's really a joy, man. We have a young girl, Josie,
yeah.
And she's 18 months as of a few days ago. And then we also have a little baby boy, Julian, that just entered the world. And yeah, I mean, he's not doing a lot yet, a lot of sleeping and eating.
Like this?
Yeah, trying to move his head around. But Josie's changing every day, and it's really exciting, And I'm fortunate in my job and my career to have a lot of time at home with the family. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I was just going to ask you that because, I mean, T.O. just had a baby not too long ago. You got a baby. How does that affect your training schedule? Because I know T.O. was riding with Easy. I mean, he was riding with Easy right there on the trainer. How does that affect you guys, on the training?
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing where I feel like, first of all, let me just say, when it comes to like added life stress, my wife has done an incredible job insulating me. I've been able to keep doing my, my job and training hard, and I have to give a big shout out to Kelsey for everything she does. But yeah, in terms of just having the children now and how that changes my perspective, I think on one hand it's motivating. You've got another mouth to feed and a kid to take care of, but at the same time you realize that they're indifferent to your results and your performance that way, and so yeah, they love you no matter what. And,
you always be their champ.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool. Definitely kind of the perfect dynamic, and it's really opened my eyes to a whole new world, actually.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Best of luck on Friday. Yeah, I called Mr. Tim O'Donnell in Puerto Rico a couple times, and then the tropics, beautiful pina coladas, yeah. All right. Well, see, I've been following your training also. I follow Ben, and you're in Lionel's, and John, and everybody else's except mine. So let's start with the venue. Whole different animal here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's exciting to be back at another course. Daytona was an amazing event, and while similar, it's going to be very different out there tomorrow, particularly on the bike course. It's a whole different beast.
And you say that because of the wind?
The wind is definitely is blowing a lot stronger than it did in December in Daytona, but that road course on the bike, it's much different. It's going to be much more dynamic, much more heads up, and just a different style of racing.
So what do you expect from you on that type of racing? I mean, what is your concentration here? I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, I know everybody's looking for a win. I know that. But, I mean, during the process, what are you looking for?
Yeah, for me, I actually wasn't planning on racing this early in the season, but with everything that Challenge North America is doing, I just wanted to come out here and support this because I really think the future of Challenge North America is amazing, particularly in collaboration with professionals. So I had to be here because I just want to see this thing grow. And it's a stepping stone for me. I made a lot of mistakes in Daytona. I didn't have a great race. And fitness aside, I can't change my fitness, and I wouldn't want to. You know, I'm building for that one race I do in October, and but I can execute better than I did Daytona. So that's my goal.
Okay, excellent. Let me ask you, when you're on the bike, I mean that's one of your strongest disciplines. You like to sit back a little bit. I mean, even though you know you're strong. Do you like to sit back a little, or you just hammer and let's see what happens on the run?
Yeah, I like to make it an honest race, but through those turns, I'm probably going to sit on anybody who's European. I'm probably going to try to be
on the left hand side
because they know how to corner and they know how to handle a bike a lot better than us Yanks.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Ben. What is the most common mistake that you keep doing that your coach keeps telling you not to do? Too much bike?
Yeah. No, I have a great team with Julie Dibbins and Matt Bottrell. They keep me honest, and honestly, their biggest thing is just keeping me, making sure I'm engaged in the program and focused. You know, there's a lot going on in life right now, so they've been very accommodating, particularly training hours, but making sure that every hour I do counts. So it's been great. I really love training this year more so than I have in a long time.
JD crew, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the JD crew. When you train at home, and I've seen pictures of you training at home, what kind of tunes do you listen to? Do you listen to any tunes? Or do you watch TV?
I usually watch TV. Yeah, I'm usually a TV guy. And actually, Rinny just started training again, and Yellowstone's an amazing show. And that's literally the only time we can watch TV together apart. So we're bonding over Yellowstone on the trainers together. But if I'm listening to music, Foo Fighters, favorite band, hands down.
And Rainey, how is Rainey doing? She's back?
Yeah, she's doing amazing. Yeah, she's started back in training. Finn's about 9 weeks right now.
Yeah.
It's slow process, stressful for her, but she's excited to get back, and biking and swimming have coming along really well. She started more with some aqua jogging on the run. Just her hips and everything.
Yeah, I heard she was pushing like 150 watts now. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was happy. Right? Let me ask you something, and this would be for the people that are new to the sport. What would you tell them? How would you motivate people to get into the sport? Especially this kind of racing. I mean, the Challenge family and the Challenge North America, I mean, they have a great weekend of racing for the whole family. So how would you tell the people to motivate them to participate?
Yeah, I think this is a great step because not everybody should hop in and do a full distance triathlon on their first race. We want triathlon to be a healthy part of your life and to improve your everyday life. So that starts with taking baby steps, finding local people, finding even an online coach or a local tri club, someone to provide a little structure and some camaraderie while you're out there, and can really help you enjoy the journey, because it isn't for all professionals and age groupers. It's not just about racing and your results. It's about the journey that we're all on, and you want to make it as fun as possible.
It's all about the journey, and racing is just a graduation thing, right? All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for me. Tim, thank you so very much. All right, good afternoon, everybody. We got Jan Frodeno and Lionel Sanders here on stage. There will be racing on Friday here at the Challenge Miami 2021. I'm going to start with Jan, and I'm so happy that you made it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
How was that trip? What happened?
Quite a journey to get here at the moment. It was certainly some adrenaline, a little bit more than we anticipated, but I guess it's fair enough after 17 months or something. We're probably out of practice of traveling too, so it's all good. We're happy to be here. Or I'm happy to be here.
You got in and you tested the track. You rode yesterday, I think. You rode in yesterday morning. You rode your bike, yes?
Yeah, we checked out the course yesterday morning for the first time. Tried to get in on Tuesday night. I get lost between days, but came in a little bit too late. And yeah, very surprised and very, very happy to see what we found. So.
You didn't race Daytona. That was not an experience you had. You raced Daytona, Lionel. You had that experience. You tested this course. What would you say between Daytona and Miami? How do you find the course?
Completely different race. Totally different race. Yeah, lots more relief on the legs, of course, because you can kind of soft pedal through the corners. One of the corners, I think you actually have to brake. You don't ever have to use your brakes in Daytona a single time, and there's really never a change in muscle recruitment pattern. So that kind of, I believe, is what makes Daytona probably one of the hardest courses you could possibly create.
Right.
Because that's what you saw with some of the short course guys, is literally they look like totally different runners due to that no change in muscle recruitment pattern. On the other hand, this is much more technical. I mean, there's literally no corners. You don't have to. You could probably close your eyes and do well in Daytona. So it's a totally different race. No way to predict the dynamics of the race. I don't know. I'd put it at like 50-50 that you'll be able to do some serious riding. I think with the 20-meter draft zone and everything, that'll be kind of an interesting thing on such a small course.
Is this going to be 20 or 15 here?
Yeah, no, I believe they put it at 20. I don't know. We're kind of in between.
20?
We're going to find out in a half hour or so, but. It'll be interesting to see if it gets congested or if guys are able to get away. I put it at 50-50. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, the headwind will be helpful.
That's going to be a factor.
But I have no idea. It'll be very interesting. The nice part is no one knows how it's going to happen. We're all going to learn on the fly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been training in Daytona at your home, right? I mean, and it's not cold over there right now. Is it freezing cold?
Yeah, we had the first proper winter since we've lived there. Probably it was actually cold. We had some temperature low records this year, but yeah, it's been fresh. It's certainly nothing like it is outside at the moment.
So you're training. You've been doing a lot of inside riding. I mean, I rode with you for the Frodeno rides many times, and I mean, you've done a lot of inside training, right?
Yeah, I adapted to that a few years ago, and I do enjoy my riding indoors a fair bit, but of course it's nothing's going to prepare you for that outside humidity and the light. It's just nice to get some sun on the skin again.
Yeah, I've been following your training. You're doing actually. I saw the block that you went from the sprint to the Olympic block, and actually it made a lot of sense to me. If you want to, you got to be world-class Olympic speed for this type of racing. Is that the mentality?
That is the logic. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
I've had a few. I don't try not to read the comments, but there's a lot of people who definitely are more of that old school. You got to have that long base building phase and everything. Yeah. And from my perspective, of course, my perspective is a lot different than a lot of people because I have done years of base building, if you want to call it that. But my idea of base building now is definitely like low volume, lots of speed. The speed is your greatest technique tool. And then you slowly convert that speed over to the
longer
paces.
Intervals.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's what it will take for 70.3 Worlds anyway, moving forward. I just don't know how you can run with guys who are running 13:30 5Ks. For them to run a 1:10 half off the bike is like literally they probably breathe through their nose the whole time. So you kind of got to evolve a little bit.
So you're still looking for that 320K?
I mean, if you're looking for 320Ks, you're fighting for 10th probably, the equivalent of that. At 70.3 Worlds, I think, against these guys coming off the Olympics this year, if it occurs. A guy like Gustav and all these guys. I mean, Jan's run 106.32. Jan was the beginning, really, of pushing these paces. But if you look at some of this training these guys are doing, it's absolutely incredible. And it'll be interesting to see. what it takes to win these races moving forward.
I saw this monster training you did. We were doing 400 watts for like, I don't know, what's your FTP? Like 395 or something?
I mean, FTP, it's not irrelevant. I mean, I did do that 1 hour thing on the track, and I would estimate my power was about 395. So
Right.
that is, I guess, a true FTP test.
Right.
Unfortunately, I wish they gave the gold medal to the highest FTP, but you've got to be able to handle the bike, you've got to be able to ride the road, you've got all the tactics of racing, how you distribute that power. I mean, in Daytona, for instance, there was lots of surges. All these things are far more important than FTP. But FTP, it's good to have a good FTP, absolutely.
Yeah, as a benchmark. Yeah. But that was a monster. That was a monster training. I was like, this guy's nuts. Anyway, Jan, on the bike course here, I mean, you can see your competition. Like, it's not like a out and back. This is, a circle. So, I mean, you can see the competition, and the competition can see you. I mean, how does that work for your mind? Do you want to see where they're at, or you just rather like see them once and then clock them once again, like in 20 minutes?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, the reason I'm in the game now is for the battles I'm hoping to have tomorrow. It really is one of those things. The solitude thing is obviously awesome when you're having a great day and you're out there, but it really is that situation, I think, especially over a short distance such as this one, to bring a little bit more of the intensity of shorter distance racing, the competitiveness, racing competitors rather than racing your power meter. So I think it brings all the dynamic. I really think this kind of course could be a real future format for middle distance racing, professional racing at least. I don't think it's suitable for age group racing, but for professional racing, I think it's exciting. You spectators get to see people when we get to have kind of proper spectating again. It's exciting, it's comparable, and quite honestly, this little middle section that brings the technical element to it just makes it actually, I think a little bit more adrenaline surging than what Daytona perhaps was as a pure course, not as a race.
Well, it should be a great race. I mean, we have NBC Sports are going to be broadcasting this event like a couple days after, so it should bring a lot of attention to our sport of triathlon. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I wish you the best of luck. Race hard, and tomorrow will be the day. How is that?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing fine. Fantastic. We're back. Finally, we're back racing.
That's right.
Yes, and we're back on the bike. Got a
All
job
of it.
after a year. All right. Okay, so let's begin. We're here in Miami. It's warm, right? It's very early in the season. I don't know if you raced this early in the season. Have you raced this early in the season before?
I have. You know what? Usually we're in New Zealand at this time. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get there this year. Normally, I would have done a half and a full this past 2 weeks. So, of my biological clock, it doesn't like October, but it loves March. Okay. So that's good for me at this point. But yeah, I do like racing early for sure, and then I like racing in December too. So either. Yeah.
And you'll be doing a lot of inside training, like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you were able to go outside at all when you where you were, but do you have a trainer and a treadmill all in the same place, and you do your training right there? And I mean, how?
Yeah. I have my she
crazy
shed.
is that?
My she shed's very important to me. You know what is that I'm a promiscuous Zwifter, and that's no secret at all. As Andrew Starkowitz would call it, I'm a Zwift whore. That's also fine too. And that my weaknesses will come out tomorrow, and that's fine. It's just we moved from California to Ohio. It's a lot colder there. Right. I'm a mom of a 3-year-old. I too I'm 42. I've always been the more of the consistent trainer. I like. I'm not saying lower volume, higher intensity works for me. Doesn't work for everybody. Right. I'm also relying on 70 long distance races on my legs and hoping that kind of helps shimmy things into place. But I like the higher end stuff, especially these last few years. So yes, I definitely have my treadmill and trainer parallel to each other.
Right.
That's my office these days for sure. I hope that I can. I'm not a technical writer. I'm the first to admit that. So I'm going to use each loop to learn and educate myself as best I can in the moment, and like we all have said, sort of on the fly.
I think you had the baby, you were in Texas, I think, and you just had the baby recently, a couple of years ago, I think it was. And I asked you the question about how did you manage the breastfeeding thing with the baby? Because my wife was going through that at the same time.
Right.
So, and racing and having a baby I mean, how did you do that? I mean,
I did race at a full distance when my son Mac was 4 months. And it was a challenge in terms of the nursing side, and this is a story I tell quite often because it was just under 9-hour race in that time, and having a 4-month-old, I also wasn't sure whether my C-section scar was going to explode on the marathon. I mean, I'm very transparent about that. People don't talk about it that much, but it's actually a thing for women who have children and try to go back to racing. That particular time at Ironman Texas, and it's funny, when I raced at 4 months, I think I did 3-4 long distance races that year, and that was one of my better ones at 4 months when he was 4-month-old, and I think that's because motherhood accumulated, lots of sleep, nursing for a year. But my point of telling you all that is one of my really good friends during it was Ironman Texas. I spent the first 6 hours wondering if my human, who wasn't eating solid food yet, was going to be crying, and my poor husband was going to be dealing with this irate newborn. But one of my dearest friends, Hilary Visquet, who had Mac was 4 months, she had a 2-month-old at the time, and I just remember it like it was yesterday. It was the most prominent 7 seconds of that moment. In the marathon, I was probably 13 miles in, I was worried, and I saw her, and she just goes, "Oh, Mare, I fed Mac, we're all good, and I'm gonna go feed him again." And so I didn't know, and call it ignorance, because it was, I thought, I didn't know what wet nurses was or anything. I didn't know someone else could feed your child. And she was like, "I got it. He's all good." And so he wouldn't take a bottle ever. He would only take me, but he would take a nipple. So whatever floated his boat. So he was fed, and that relief I felt in the 7 seconds she told me allowed me to carry on with that race. And
you did very well too.
Thank you.
Yes, you did.
You all got a lesson on nursing. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm fascinated.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally used that information. I told my wife, I said, "Don't worry about it. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
She just did a full distance, and she was fine.
I'm worried if I've been fed.
And let's talk about you. So I mean, you're in Miami. You're ready to race. What are you looking for here? Come on, tell me.
Yeah, look, I had a challenging season last year, obviously with COVID and a few other things. So I'm just really looking forward for some bit of redemption after Daytona. For me, I didn't had such low expectations on myself for that race, and it was really a challenging day for me. So looking forward to a sharper course, like with a little shorter and going back to some of most people that have moved through triathlon have moved through from the shorter course stuff. So I think we'll get a bit of a throwback to ITU and short course triathlon on Friday.
How are you going to manage your nutrition on this type of distance? I mean, it would be the same as a half distance kind of nutrition, or would you go a little less?
I think for this, it's borderline. I think you probably don't want to get carried away on the bike course, of course, but then you don't want to leave yourself depleted either for the run. So. I've got a lot of experience, and most of the guys do, especially the long course athletes, will be able to moderate that pretty well. I think maybe if you're a bit shorter course athlete, you might have to think about it a little bit more in just getting that, maybe not underdoing it. Yeah. And
let's keep on nutrition. How about salt intake, minerals? It should be warm.
Yeah, I think, for everyone, it's probably been through winter, and so this is the first race out of winter. I didn't actually go back to Australia after Daytona, so I stayed for a legit winter in America, which for someone that's seen snow maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, to have it every day was initially a novelty, and then, that wore off. And, I trained in St. George, and it's not totally cold.
Right.
So for me, I think, it's going to be warmer no one's really had the chance to adapt too much to that, but it's not like Hawaii hot.
And have fun, and we got to have some fun out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we got to have some fun. Let me ask you this. I mean, you said it, I did. You like to do the trainer a lot. Do you use music or TV like T.O.?
Yeah, T.O. is awesome. I can't concentrate on a show. I'm drilling Eminem and whatever I've got old school in my ears, some Method Man, whatever.
AC/DC, that kind of stuff.
You know, it's just in there. I need all the because I do these races where we're on Discord and all you hear is people breathing, and I have to turn it off and just slide the music on. But yeah,
Okay.
can't concentrate with shows, but music, I'm good to go.
No
Yeah.
Paul Simon or Garfunkel
No,
or anything
no,
like that.
yeah.
Okay, I got you. Sarah, talk to me about your happiest try moment. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I think for me, it's always when you have a performance where it all sort of comes together, I think. So most recently would probably be Hawaii in 2019. So, I mean, I walked away with things I could have done better and differently, but, you know, for me, that was probably one of my most enjoyable days in triathlon. And, you know, Lucy's here and we had a battle at the end of the race, and I think it's pretty rare to even get that opportunity in an Ironman at that level. So to be a part of that experience was really cool. So yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm excited for another day like that one day. So that's what we keep going. Keep coming back for more of that.
Let me ask you though, I mean, and this is my last question. Tomorrow, you race. Saturday, what do you do?
Oh, me?
You go for pizza, for beer?
No, we've got commitments, so we're back here helping out with the race. I think the cool thing about the format is that of this event is that we get to race on the Friday and then enjoy the age group and the other athletes and give back a bit to the sport. So we're actually involved in the Pro-Am.
Right.
I think Meredith is as well, and a few of the others. So we'll be out there actually racing again in the morning the next day, which will be interesting. And then, so sticking around for some of the age group racing as well over the weekend. So I think that's a good thing about this event. It stands out.
And we're going to have a lot of fun here. We're going to have some nice mojitos, I guess, afterwards.
Yeah, Saturday's going to be interesting.
I'm pretty much done. I mean, we're good? Last question.
Sarah, for you, you have said that you really enjoy the technical part of the bike and kind of figuring out aerodynamics. Does a windy day, does that give you an advantage because of the things that you've thought about with the bike and aerodynamics?
I think at this level, everyone's very experienced. Some of us may have raced a lot more in the aero position than others. I think the longer course athletes will have more advantage with the winds and coping with the winds, yet some of the shorter course athletes will have a lot more of the technical advantage. So there's a fair few corners out there, and I'm not sure. We'll have to see how we go with managing that. But I think, we're on our time trial bikes a lot, and so I think it's definitely an advantage to be sort of gelled to it 99% of the year for this race. I definitely think for me, an advantage of this course is you can use the strength with that wind. And so you'll see a few of the longer distance athletes, I think, taking that advantage and being comfortable in that position.
And Meredith, you feel like you're carrying the flag for 40 plus athletes? 42 years old. It's very impressive.
They're like, Granny's behind us, let's go. No, you know what, I enjoy being the veteran. I feel like I've been doing this 20 years and experience, even though this is new, right? This Challenge Miami and Challenge Daytona, we're creating this bill, and all of you are creating this empire. That's going to be awesome, and I hope these old legs will stay on it and for another several years to keep getting to experience Sonoma Speedway and Watkins Glen Speedway and all those things. So, I know I'm the veteran, and I know I often train like I'm 30 in terms of. I have to say that I know age is just a number. You can't defy science, though, so I have to be very mindful and very cognizant of that in my training as well. And I do. The 42-year-old Meredith is still really does train like the 30-year-old Meredith because the paces and the watts, if you want to get technical, are the same, if not better, than they were there. But what happened was in the last 15 years, the competition just rose. And so I can keep trying to chip away at it and keep being a squirrel trying to get a nut. And it might, I hope my better days of racing are still ahead, and I'm going to keep giving it my all. And we all love the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and I'm just trying to get it,
Well, we got Sonoma and Road to America.
That's right.
Still, so
all of it.
we'll see you there.
You got it.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.